Hi everyone, it's Laura again at Hyperstamper. Today's Antique Junk Journal is this sweet laddie, a true blue story. I've had two others of these and they were really popular, so I was just thrilled when this one turned up on my doorstep from a dear friend who is out antique shopping. And it is from 1913 and it's got this beautiful blue and green and then these darker blue irises up here, and I just love it. I've added a vintage earring, probably from about the 1940s, because it is an iris and it's got its little faux gemstone there. And then I've added some vintage necklace and another vintage earring up here. Isn't that pretty? So lots of beauty going on here in keeping true to the original cover. So inside is all authentic antique and vintage ephemera, and I've got hankies in here. It's just stuffed. I've got a 50s baby card photos, sewing notions from the 20s. Like, it's just absolutely stuffed. Here's another greeting card here. So let me take you on a tour of this if you want to see every single page before it goes into my Etsy shop at hyperstamper.etsy.com. So this is a original plate from Beatrix Potter, 1903, and then this is a beautiful vintage hand embroidered hanky. It was never purchased, so it looks brand new, but it's actually quite old. If that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. These are the original first 5 pages of the book, and I left them as is so that you could do lots of journaling in there. It's even got the original first plate here. And then we move into the fun part. This is from the original spine of the book here, and I just love that texture. And this pocket has some 1970s Chantilly lace, so 50-year-old lace here from a wedding dress. And this is a hand-typed research page on the histories of 1886. And this is an 1850 original front page inside of a large book, and I just cut it down. The marbling, German marbling, is just amongst the best in the world, and that's an example of it right there. And it's a 1950s pocket. Actually, this came from the book where these pages came from. Original first page of the book again. There's another Beatrix Potter plate, and that's from 1800s there. This is a 1950s recipe book page from Better Homes and Gardens. This is, oh, butter tarts. Ooh, yummy. So tarts and all kinds of fun things there that you could do with raisins. 1920s image there, and that's a vintage music sheet. And this is a vintage bird book here. Oh, the Mockingbird, one of my favorites. This is a gorgeous plate from the early 1900s. And this here is a really fun baby card. Look at this one. It folds out like this. They really knew how to do cards. And it's got a little bell on the teddy bear there hiding inside. Isn't that absolutely adorable? And then you can actually open this one up as well to do more journaling inside. So I just think that's sweet. I think it might be the last one of these that flip-flop open like that. Here's a 1950s Pearl Shop receipt, and hiding in here is a vintage antique book page. And here is a really cool 1947 costumes of the era pages. Isn't that neat? Is Henry the IV era. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? It looks like a Queen Anne costume there. And then we've got a vintage bird book here, also more than 50 years old. And that is the Orioles. Gorgeous. I love Orioles. They're so pretty. And here is a really gorgeous plate. Look at that one here. Isn't that lovely? And that's from 1925, art education book. And this is a photograph from the 40s or 50s. Couldn't quite place the exact date, except by the clothes that they're wearing. I made some little flowers up here out of antique paper. Got a 100-year-old banknote here, 100-year-old button card, and then a 1965 payday card there, and a page from a vintage book, so you can journal on the back. It's just got the best graphics on the front there, and that's all on top of a vintage book page. There's some pressed hydrangea flowers there that I dried, and there's a really fun 1950s plate here, little elves in the forest with the leaves, and this is an early 1920s plate here from a gardening book. And you can journal on the back of that. And there's another vintage music sheet. And hiding in here is an antique page you can journal in. And then I slipped in this 1940s Monopoly Baltic Avenue card for fun. And that's on that 1955 Howie's Road map. This one is Quebec and is that what's attached to Quebec? I guess it's Vermont, maybe. Very cool. And butterfly from antique paper, 1950s embroidery book page, and a 1930s page back here. And then I made this wonderful journaling tag out of 1800s ephemera. This is just an ad from a 1950s magazine. And then this is a really sweet 1940s book image that was inside the book. And I just think it's so sweet. And I put antique paper on the back of the journal as well. And another plate here from 1904, gorgeous. And look at this here from 1905, the Three Little Kittens Lost Their Mittens poem, and antique paper on the back of that as well. And we've got a wraparound here, really fun little 1940s image here, and then one of these little booklets that I've made quite a few out of this vintage botanical book. Just a lot of fun there. You can do all kinds of things with these. And this is a really, really pretty vintage card, and I love that it's got this gloss and texture all at the same time. It's lovely with the florals front and back, the roses, and then blank inside. It looks to me as if this had been a card that they cut down. They often did that to reuse the cards, and it's just a really special one. Another vintage children's book page here, some lace. This is lace, another 1970s wedding dress, different kind of lace, very, very pretty. 1950s doily making book page here, and a 1970s craft magazine page here. I love the patina of that. And then this is one of these awesome 1940s transfers that would have been transferred onto a tea towel or towel for face cloth, and then embroidered. That would have been one for a man with the antique cars on it. Vintage image there. And then look at this fun one, the New England States. I love this. This is from 1923, and it's got its original beautiful color. It's very smooth and glossy. I love that so much. And then we have the cover here. Oh, another plate here, the shore in New England, and some vintage school book paper there, and another vintage piece here that I've just added some antique paper to journal. Pocket from the 1930s, and this is a vintage wildflower book page from the 70s, so 50 years old there as well. And then another children's book page here. That's a school book, how to do lighting for a dollhouse. A vintage ledger sheet there. Whoop. And then this is really cool. It's from 1884. It actually came to me like this. The book was quite ruined, but I was able to save this lovely little plate here. And then a vintage dictionary page, more children's book pages. This one's from the 1920s. Isn't that sweet? The little kids on the camel. It's so sweet. An elephant. More vintage pages. This is fun with Dick and Jane, which just lovely. And they're meeting the people that work in the neighborhood. More vintage dictionary pages. And this is just a really fun advertisement from the 40s. And this one here is from the 50s. Look at this. Hamilton Beach. I believe it is still in business today, but look at that fabulous top this woman's wearing. I would kill for that. Lovely. And that brings us to the end of the book, the last original pages of the book. So I hope you love it as much as I love making it. Don't forget to subscribe and come back soon, and go to hyperstamper.etsy.com to see the rest of my junk journals. Bye for now.